Well, hail, hail, the gang's all here. DMP is here. We've been raided by Smart Gamer Network. There are many others, many other friends, hither and thither, to and from, that are here. We have pulled some capsules. We're all warmed up. We have our thinking caps on, or at least our thinking headphones. No, Dark Wolf, that's fine. I mean, whatever personal projects you have, I know you, you might still have some outstanding other art commissions. By the way, y'all, Dark Wolf is working on some super special art for the channel, and I will be excited to be able to debut it to you all. But Dark Wolf did get some business, and she will be revising and tweaking and whatnot, and I will reveal that artwork. Oh, you're working on the super special. Ah, all right then. Sleight, good morning to you. Howdy. All right, everyone, give Sleight a howdy. All right, well, Sleight and others, you are here just in time because we are just going to begin the workshop where we are going to build a Genie Warlock. My PCs have made it all the way to level 15 after 2.5 years of fun. Howdy, y'all. Alright, so Dark Wolf, if anyone else from the Tuesday group is there, after 2.5 years, they're at level 15. Y'all are at 13, and it hasn't even been 2 years yet. So I think we got to stretch things out, because we can't have Daily outdo us, Chroma Company. So we're going to have to space out about 2 more levels. I guess we'll have to be giving you a level about every 6 months or so, okay? Will that work for you, Dark Wolf? Also, hi, Daily. Yeah, you can roll for Genie Kind DMP. And we'll get to that in just a tad. I think we have everyone in settled. Daily, as a quick heads up for you, you are here at the beginning of the workshop, and so I might just call on you if you are free, that is. Although if you're still cleaning up, maybe I won't. A total 4 years to be playing at 20? Got it. All right. There we go. We're in this for the long haul. The world will explode before we end. Legacy levels even, my goodness. Daily! You're not supposed to let him know. Come on, man. That's a secret. You can't just say that stuff out loud, Daily. You can't just say that. That's our secret. Oh, goodness. All right, let's make a character, everyone. Now, to get into the Genie mindset, I'm not going to worry about the abilities. Let's look at what is the proposal. Yeah, worst kept secrets, number 1, DMs holding levels. But it's still a secret. You at least got to try. So let's look at the flavor. I'm not worried about the abilities. We're not going to worry about ability scores. That will happen. We're going to build a character first. And as we're building the character, let's take... Excuse you. Let's take the Genie into consideration, as this is a very direct influence on our Warlock. You have made a pact with one of the rarest kinds of a genie, a noble genie. Such entities are rulers of vast fiefs on the elemental planes, or fiefs. It's fiefs. Fiefdoms. Of vast fiefs on the elemental planes, and have a great influence over lesser genies and elemental creatures. Noble genies are varied in their motivations, but are all arrogant and wield power that rivals that of lesser deities. They delight in turning the tables on mortals, who so love to bind genies into servitude, readily entering into pacts that expand their reach across the multiverse. You choose your patron's kind or determine it randomly using the Genie kind table. And we'll worry about that. We'll worry about that when we get there. So it's not really talking about the Warlock itself, more the patron of the Genie and kind of their take on who genies are, what genies are. Yeah, Nisa's looking for love in all the right places, because I love you. Huh, Putty Tat? Yep, okay. Hey, that ain't free, come on. Excuse... Oh, you're bapping the audience, too. Come on, ma'am. You're... Alright, so we have that as our primer. And ta-da, we have our player's handbook. We have our subclasses open, but you know what? Right now, that does not matter as much as this. Right here. So if any of you would like to lock in a particular role, you can spend some inspiration points to do so. Yep, all the cat butts. It's not deliberate cat butts, so I don't think so. Hi. You gonna meow at me silently? Alright, creep. Alright, so let's have, Sleight wants any role. Okay, so Sleight, I'll tell you what, type exclamation point 1D100. Exclamation point 1D100 to let us know if we have a female character. A male character. Oh, DMP. I just gave that one away to Sleight. Do you want to change it to something else? No, you're fine, Sleight. Thantos, which you just want the first roll that comes your way. All right, with an 87, we are making a male character. Well, I mean, we're going to go through the roles pretty quickly, DMP. So if you want background, alignment, feats instead of ASI, personality or something, go ahead and call it now. Okay. All right, so we have a male character, and now the race of our character, Dark Wolf. Dark Wolf has locked this in. Go ahead and roll a D10 in chat. Exclamation point 1D10, Dark Wolf. Rolled a 5. We are a half-elf. Okay. Now, for a half-elf, this has no particular, mechanical benefit or detriment, though if it comes to a roleplay consideration or to fill out our character's personality, Thantos, what you can do then is go ahead and roll a D12 in chat, exclamation point 1D12. Odds, our character favors his human descent. Evens, he favors his elven descent. Zaylin, aw, thank you. Zaylin, do you want to put that into the community pool or towards the computer part? It's just exclamation point 1D12. Evens. Alright, so our duder here favors his elven descent. Male, half-elf, favors elf. Alright, I gotta have my desk back, man. I'll tell you what, though. Here. We are a medium-sized creature, and we already know that we are a Warlock, a Genie Warlock, and we're a level 20 character. What type of elf? So while there are mechanical, you can have options for a mechanical type of elf. In this case, I guess we'll just roll. I think we have a D3 command. 1d3. Yeah. Okay. That one doesn't count because we use that for wishes for the deck of many things. Also, ha. By the way, we're talking about a genie. How many wishes? Anyway. So let's have Reezy. Reezy, will you please type exclamation point 1d3 to let us know which kind of an elf our half is? Reezy might not be here, so let's go to... Who else is it? Daily. Daily... Oh, yeah, I'm sorry. Reezy, exclamation point 1d3. Ah, Trevor, you're back just in time. I'll be able to call on you to help us create a character. 2. We are a half-high elf. All right, Trevor. Trevor, will you please type exclamation point 1d100? Exclamation point 1d100. And you're going to give us our alignment. Stops on a 34. Oh, just out of chaotic good, we have another lawful neutral character. Okay. We already know we're level 20, but how about our if we're going to be taking any particular feats? And so, DMP, can you please type exclamation point 1d100 since you wanted to change your role to that? Okay, no problem, Reezy. I hope we're able to entertain you. We have a hide the Cheetos. All right, and we got a 40. It's all ability score improvements. No feats. Now, for the background, Mr. Plunderloot, will you please type exclamation point 1d20? Rolled a 2. A Charlatan. Okay. A Charlatan. You know, riffraff, street rat. I don't buy that. You know, if only we'd look closer, then, I mean, we'd see that he's just a poor boy. Now, what kind of a Charlatan do we have? An additional roll of a D6 will help us determine that. And so, Daily, can you please... actually, Daily, will you please type exclamation point 4d6? So we're going to use the other d6s for the ideal bond and flaw, just for efficiency. All right, so we are going to be Charlatan 4. Then we're going to have 335 for our ideal bond and flaw. Exhausted Dragon, will you please type exclamation point 1d8 to give us our first personality trait. And let's see, who else do we have hanging out with us that hasn't rolled yet? Grainwald, are you still here? Or Raz? Raz, are you hanging out? Exhausted gives us a 5 for a personality trait. All right, I'll tell you what, Trevor, will you please type exclamation point 1d8 and give us our second personality trait for our character? Lands on a 7. Okay, so we have our ideal bond flaw and our 2 personality traits. We're Charlatan number 4. I don't know what that means. We'll find out. We already know that we are a Warlock of the Genie. However, as a Warlock, we do have an option for a Pact. And so, why don't we have, let's see. I don't see anyone else if Purple Neko is still hanging out with us or not. Oh, DMP wants to go for Pact. Alright, DMP, will you roll a D3 in chat and let us know what kind of a pact our character has with the Genie? Number 1, a blade. A Genie blade lock. Okay. Now we're going to come down here as we are a half-elf. Let's see. Let's have Dark Wolf. Will you please roll a percentile in chat? Exclamation point 1D100. And let us know how old our Warlock is. Uh-oh. Did the stream disconnect? Can you see this in chat? I see chat, but not the stream. Uh-oh. Okay. Let's do this. Then at Exhausted Dragon, please type exclamation point 1D100 for age. Alright, so if you're watching this as a VOD or on YouTube later, we're still doing this live, even if I am not live myself. Rolled an 81. We are elderly. And so that is going to mean 119 plus 1d28. We'll move this up, and we are going to make 119 with a 28-sided die. We are 137 years old. Let's come down here. Elderly, 137. And to make things less complicated, again, if you're watching this in the future, and you're still, I mean, because you can see this still happening live, I'm going to roll the 2d8 and 2d4 for the height and weight. So 2d8, 2d4. we're adding 11 inches, and we are adding 66 pounds. So we are, we're 4'19" or 5'7". 5 feet 7 inches, and we're adding 66, so 166 pounds. 5 foot 7 inches, 166 pounds. Yeah, I'm interacting with Twitch, with chat here. Still continuing, but it's a connection issue. Maybe through Twitch, but the error is displaying on Slops also. Uh-oh. We'll keep things moving along here. So we have the outline. Yeah, I mean, I have internet. Else I couldn't hear the music playing or chat. Oh, hey, we might have just gotten live again. Am I live? Hello? Hello? Yellow, 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 yellow. Hi, everyone. Am I here? Are you here? Are any of us ever really here? Working now? Alright, well, behind the scenes, I rolled for the height and weight, and this is what we have. There was a glitch in the Matrix. Welcome. Yes, Death Angels. Yeah, I don't know. It just suddenly dropped. It's like, nah, nah. I got Skeletored. Hey, there we go. Stream Elements just said we're live. Yay! Oh my goodness. Goodness gracious. Well, hello and welcome back. We did all the placeholder roles, and now it's time to delve into our character. And of course, you know that we start in Chapter 4. That's right. Bust out your textbooks, everyone. You didn't come to class without your player's handbook, did you? Yeah, you didn't think I'd notice, huh? Alright, well then let's go to Charlatan, everyone. Here we go. Our skill proficiencies are going to be Deception and Sleight of Hand. And I do this just to get this out of the way, because, I mean, you know, we're given this, so, will it have a huge impact on our character? We'll see. Deception and Sleight of Hand. There we go. Those are filled in. A D's Guys kit and a Forgery kit. And some equipment. We'll get a set of fine clothies, as well as a D's Guys kit. Those fake mustaches come in handy. Tools of the con of your choice, so we'll come back to that. And then a belt pouch with 15 gapuz. Apparently crime pays. Now, what kind of a charlatan are we? We rolled number 4. Charlatan number 4 is, I put on new identities like clothes. Maybe we are the genie. We could just make ourselves look like all sorts of future pop culture figures, or a goat. I put on new identities like clothes. So we are a master of disguise. We can dress up. We can dress up. We can dress down. We can dress all around. We can slip into whatever's comfy. You know, if we have to sneak into a particular desert society that is populated by all women folk, we can do it. We put on the veil, and the quests can continue. We dress up as the other half. So we have our elven half that accents one, and then our human half that is the other identity. He's the genie, but he's trapped. Maybe he's not used to being stuck with... So Trevor is coming in. All right, you are 2 steps ahead, Trevor, but that's fine because I'm glad you said it. There's nothing saying that we can't play. What if we play as the genie? But our power is bound. Ooh. No, Trevor, how dare you be sorry? I demand an apology for you apologizing. Trevor, no, that's a fantastic idea. Trevor, how dare you become excited watching a program that prompts imagination and creativity? Trevor, you are absolutely fine. It is absolutely fine that you are 2 steps ahead. If our character points to the fact that maybe we are the genie, what if we've been the genie the whole time? Now, this could be something you can talk about with your DM, or maybe your DM springs this on you. You know, anytime you communicate with your patron, it might just be tapping into your power, restoring some of your memories because something happened. And wouldn't that be a bomb to drop on your player or the rest of the group if you and your DM were in on it? I'm sorry for being sorry for being sorry. And there's nothing saying you can't be in cahoots with your DM. So Trevor, that is brilliant, and you brought up a very good point. And let's see if that's cool and y'all like it. Let's see if we can roll with it. You know, does that change how many spell slots we get or what our charisma score is? Heck no, it absolutely doesn't. It absolutely doesn't. And yet it's an integral part of our character. Okay, we get the background feature of a false identity. You have created a second identity that includes documentation, established acquaintances, and disguises that allow you to assume that persona. So we, in fact, may also be Prince Ali, Fabulous He, Ali Ababa, strong as 10 regular men. Yeah, exactly. DMP, this is what was supposed to happen. Lean into it. For all of you out there, Trevor, you might be newer to the community, so maybe you don't know this prompt. What is the phrase that we use in this channel? What is our phrase? You know, Bob Ross has happy little trees. That's fine. What do we have? What is our happy little trees? Yes, exactly. Iwi. It writes itself. Don't stress. Don't agonize. You have a cool idea, roll with it. And if it doesn't work, tweak it. Or just replace it, because maybe it's a cool idea and you say, I could do better. IWI. You have OWOs and UWOs. And here we also have Iwis. It writes itself. Maybe this concept was supposed to happen. Let's play into it. Let's have fun. It writes itself. So, Trevor, anyone else out there, don't worry about writer's block as a DM, or don't worry about your character concept as a player. Let it just play out. That's why we go with random rolls. It challenges us, and it lets us find what is the way forward. It's a lot of fun. Trevor, your excitement that you needlessly apologized for, even though I demanded an apology. You know, this is all a part of that. And if you are into your character, if you're excited, about the character, you'll just be so much more dynamic at the table. It will just ooze through your character. So we can think about, what is our alternate personality? Is it a rich prince? Is it, I don't know, do we, maybe we have memories of being an all-powerful genie, but what we do is we just dress up. I don't know, we put on like genie makeup, and we pretend it's a kind of like a clown, right? And so maybe in this area, dressing up like a genie is sort of like having a clown at your birthday party. And so we have this identity as a genie, woo, for funsies. And you know, it could be that. You know, we could have a lot of fun with a false identity. Iwi Iwi looks like party in sign language. Well, then I guess we do have a. I guess we have a party on our hands, James. Here, go up here. You don't need to jump. That's only going to cause heartbreak. Okay, there we go. Thank you. Now, what is our personality like? Number 5 and number 7. Number 5, I lie about almost everything, even when there's no good reason to. Then maybe we're Prince Ali and turn it on its ear. So we lie about almost everything, even when there's no good reason to. Oh boy, it's pretty sunny today. No, it's kind of, you know, not too bad. Did you take an apple from that apple cart? No. I didn't take it from that one. I took it from that one over there. And personality trait number 7. I keep multiple holy symbols on me and invoke whatever deity might come in useful at any given moment. If any of you watched the Mummy, the Brendan Fraser Mummy, there's a character who does this when confronted by Imhotep. He takes out the kind of like the keychain of all the holy symbols as the mummy is coming closer, and he tries chanting in different languages until he finally, you know, produces a Star of David and utters a prayer in Hebrew, and then the Pharaoh's like, "Oh, you speak the language of the slaves," and then, you know, goes from there. The scan is in fact complete, DMP. And if we don't want it to be along, I guess, a religious, of course, that could also play into our costuming and our identities. But this could also, we could replace it with something else. We keep a bunch of keys that we just find in the hopes that maybe one of them will work in some lock somewhere wherever we go. Who knows? We can take this to a lot of fun places. Next up, we have our ideal. Our ideal is number 3, charity. I distribute the money I acquire to the people who really need it. So we'll break bread with orphans in the street. Oh, you got to run for good this time? All right, DMP, have a great night. Thanks for hanging out with us. Oh, real quick, Dungeon Master Painter. You wanted to get in the type of genie. Can you please roll a D4? Exclamation point 1d4. All right, stops on a 3. That is an Efreeti. So this is a fire genie. A fire genie. So up here, in fact, why don't we just put Efreeti? There we go. We're an Efreeti Warlock. Rolling with trapped genie idea. Perhaps the king of the land had trapped the genie in his own son, thus both a prince and a genie. See, this is how the ideas can evolve. And in this case, you know, we don't need the noble background if we want to be a prince. the Charlatan background can still establish us as a legitimate prince, if not a prince in documentation, you know, in forgery only. And so don't be afraid of that. You know, one of the first characters we ever made was a Barbarian mountain dwarf. And you're like, oh, okay, that makes sense. You know, mountain dwarves are really good for barbarians. And for the background, we rolled a noble. What? A noble barbarian? Yeah, and it worked super well. It works super well. You know, he doesn't have to run around in a loincloth going unga bunga like a caveman or whatever if you're a barbarian. He was educated. Now, of course, he had an evil alignment, so it manifested as he has a temper. As a noble, you are trained, you know, perhaps in the use of weapons by a master at arms that your family has hired, or, you know, as a branch family or something. And so he has learned how to fight. He's learned how to wear armor and use shields in his noble upbringing. It just so happens that he has, not like a spoiled brat, but he had a bad temper problem. He was under a lot of pressure, and when he does that, he just explodes with this pent-up fury of all the pressures of being a noble. And that's what manifested into him being a barbarian, despite him not running around with a giant club and a loincloth, you know, saying, "Rawr, I smolder with generic rage." Quingar asks, anything left? Pardon me. Maybe? If so, I guess you'll get it, Quingar. Alright, now what is our bond to the world? Number 3. Somewhere out there, I have a child who doesn't know me. I'm making the world better for him or her. Somewhere out there, I have a child who doesn't know me. I'm making the world better for him or her. Now, we've certainly lived, you know, we're 137. We very well could have had a kid or even a grandchild. You know, it doesn't even have to be a child. It could be a grandchild. It could be a foster or adoptive child. Maybe it's a kingdom, or even if we want to replace child with another kind of a parallel, a fiance or a lover, or, you know, we work behind the scenes to better someone or something. Yeah, they do, Dark Wolf. Yes, they do. I mean, in what, Game of Thrones? Then that child's last name may be Sand, according to the customs of the naming conventions of certain people born into royalty. That was sort of royalty by proximity of the participants only, or at least one of them. All right. That's a very tactful way of putting it, right? We're keeping it PG-13 here, people. Oh, goodness. One second here. There we go. Where was? Oh, so yeah. So we have someone out there. What if we twisted it and says by know me? What if they're very close but unaware of the genie? So wait, what if we twisted what it says by know me? What if they're very close but unaware of the genie? So, Rightel, can you clarify that a little bit for me? I'm not braining, apparently. And lastly, our flaw is number 5. I can't resist swindling people who are more powerful than me. So, you know, it's fine if we get into the good graces of someone that perhaps has a little bit more money to spare because of ill-gotten gains. And then we, you know, donate it to the orphanage or something. That way they have to hide a vital part of them, being the genie inside them. So are we replacing child with the genie? Or where is that going? Again, I'm sorry, I'm kind of... I feel like I'm close to what you want to pursue, but I'm not putting it together. They know the prince, his public persona. They don't know the genie, his secret private self. Oh, so... Okay. Okay, got it. So they don't know the complete person. They just know a persona. Yeah, okay. Got it. The child doesn't know the genie, but the child knows the prince. I think I'm picking up what y'all are laying down. Well, Trevor, if you want it to be in that, you know, to have it be that way, you can. Or otherwise, Trevor, we have kind of a, a Batman of, you know, in our world, he'd be sort of like an Arabic mythology Batman figure. You know, everyone knows Bruce Wayne, everyone knows Batman, but not everyone knows that Batman is Bruce Wayne. And this could be the case then, where, you know, it's not necessarily a split personality, but he just moonlights as a genie, or arguably moonlights as a prince. You know, yeah. So he tries to be a dad or a grandfather, but no one knows that there's actually this sort of like compulsion. Or this sleepwalking, or just this, you know, I am the night, and, you know, goes and does genie stuff with his genie warlock powers. And I would like to point out to Trevor and everyone else out there, look at this. Does any of this matter right now for our character? Is the fact that these are blank, does this have one iota of impact on the character? I am the Arabian Nights. And by the way, the answer to this is no. We have a character. We have our character's character. We have his personality, a history. We've done amazing world building with this character. The life he's lived, the things that he does. You could take this character sheet and role play the character. Right now. Doesn't matter the strength score. We still have a character. And how he'd behave and adapt whether he has a high or a low strength score. But I digress. Let's continue, shall we? Yes, we shall. So now we've explored that he has this this dual life, this dual, if not a personality, he has this interesting setup. He has this feature. You know, he tries to carry himself in a proper fashion, you know, lawful neutral. It doesn't mean that I'll kill a person, then I'll donate to an orphanage, and that, you know, balances out my karma, because that's not really how that works. Maybe in a video game. You know, but here, he's someone who is he's methodical. He has a process for things. And, you know, so if he's keeping plates spinning, he has a process to keep the plates spinning. And by neutrality, he, like our other character, he may take on the hard decisions. He may take on the hard things to do. You know? Or the neutrality could simply be that, you know, he is a, he's trying to balance out more of a capricious genie side. Like when Jim Carrey puts on the mask as Stanley Ipkiss in The Mask. You know, by night, you know, the genie could be this sort of like kind of a freewheeling, mask-like character who's also a superhero in a way. And then we have Stanley Ipkiss, who by day, you know, is the mild-mannered banker, I think he was. In this case, a prince. And so our lawfulness may simply be a pursuit to try and balance these two lives. And the two lives could very well be that of a, you know, a prince who is beneficent and generous, and a genie who is capricious and maybe even cruel. Maybe selfish, because the genie wants to do selfish genie things. I mean, look at this. If we want to incorporate the genie into this character, they delight in turning the table on mortals who love to bind genies into servitude, readily entering into pacts to expand their reach. You know, they're collectors. They're selfish. The lawfulness could simply be our balance as our half-elf. I was going to say human, as our half-elf self. Our neutrality in this instance could be a reflection of a beneficent prince with kind of maybe like a cruel trickster genie. And a cruel trickster doesn't mean that, you know, the prince gives a loaf of bread during the day to an orphan and the genie's like, haha, you know, and zaps him. But the genie might do something like, I don't know, someone robs a bank at night. In The Mask, Stanley Ipkiss, as the Mask, ended up, because he got sort of like cartoonish powers, ended up taking an entire muffler assembly, and let's just say that only the big part of the muffler was on the outside of the person when he was done. And the person was still alive. It just meant that that long pipe had to go somewhere and take a bunch of twists and turns in the process. You know, that's kind of cruel. It's painful. It's unnecessary. I mean, it's cartoon comical in that effect, but that is more of a cruel thing to do to someone. You know, especially because they are alive, especially because, you know, it's causing pain, if not, you know, it's not just death, but so maybe this does not have to be that. I want to throw ideas out there for how you can come to terms with what we've done. All right. Anyway, we are going to now become a half-elf. This almost seems anticlimactic after everything we've already explored, right? So as a half-elf, we get 60 feet of dark vision. We get +2 charisma, and then we get +1 in 2 other things. I don't know what it'll be. Maybe strength and intelligence? I don't know. We'll float it. We'll see where it goes. Our base speed is 30, giving us 15 climb, 15 swim, 0 fly. We do have Fey ancestry. And that is going to give us advantage versus being charmed. And then we can speak, read, and write Common, Elven, and then one other language. Yeah, instead of the Dark Knight. So, ta-da! We're a half-elf. Do you see why I don't really like this isn't necessarily as inspirational. And it doesn't mean that we can't look into his parentage. You know? If he's a half-elf, especially as a high-elf, you know, Ma and Pa, whoever Ma and Pa was, whichever Ma and Pa was, you know, and that's even considering in this instance, if a half-elf is just that, was a human and an elf. In other settings, half-elf is simply the referential phrase for another Fey-like race that exists. They're not half-elves because they are entirely their own thing. A half-elf will make a half-elf if they, you know, do the dance with another half-elf. And that half-elf will make another half-elf with another half-elf. So they're not half-elves, they are their own thing. So we can get into the details there, but if I put down 60 feet of dark vision, is that monumental to the character? Not as much. Not as much as the personality traits are, right? So congratulations, we are a half-elf. Now we are going to become a warlock. Just a warlock. We're not worrying about the genie patron yet. So in Efreeti, being elemental fire would speak Ignin, most likely. If you wanted to tie it in with fire, Ignin is the fire derivative of primordial. All right, as a level 20 Warlock, we have a 6 proficiency. We're going to know 4 cantrips. 1, 2, 3, and 4. And we are going to have 4 5th level spell slots. Ooh-wee. All them spell slots, yo. And then, of course, we're going to have invocations. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Actually, I should do it this way. There we go. So we get 2 at level 2. Hey, Derek! Boy, you speak of the devil, and he arrives. Derek, we were talking about you earlier in the channel. Ivalon coming in strong with the Derek raid. I would like you all to give a welcome to Macabre Derek et al. And how was the arting for you, Derek? So here we have level 5, 7, 9. Let's see, then we have 12, 15, 18. There we go. Was a short stream running low on energy, working on a coterie drawing for Overhaul. Ah, well, yeah, Derek, if you got to go to bed, go to bed. Go slep, be potat, my friend. The politically correct name is Jin. That's even presuming that's a hard J. What if it's Dien? Or Dhin? Because humanity can't decide what the heck J is. Well, go focus on being asleep then, Derek. I appreciate the raid, but yeah, go. You arted. You got some work done there. Go rest. Do what you got to do, brother. Thank you for stopping by. I promise, I will take moderate care of everyone you brought with you. What else? We are a D8 hit die class. And we are 20th level, so we have 20 of them. So we can recover on rests. We are proficient with light armor, as well as simple weapons. No tool proficiencies. Wisdom and Charisma are our saving throws. And then we're going to get to choose 2 skills from Arcana, Deception, History, Intimidation, Investigation, Nature, and Religion. James says invocations might be interesting to push or pull with Eldritch Blast. Flavor that they vanish and reappear. Ah, okay. Yeah, and hey, by the way, James brings up a great point. Mechanically, you're doing the same thing, but have fun with it. Make it look like it's a vanishing effect, or you're shooting out a hand that grabs someone or does these other things. And good morning to you, Bullet Club. Trevor the Dwarf says, I can just imagine the party that he is a part of about to fight a genie, and he walks up to the genie and says, long time no see, how have you been? That said, there's a really cool 2nd edition source book from Al-Qadim campaign setting called Genie Lore. Ivalon, are you going to talk about that on the stream? You've talked about Al-Qadim before, because I know that you are you like old settings, or at least you profess to like it. I don't want to make presumptions. But yeah, if you have any lore that you want to drop here, Ivalon, you're welcome to do so. A Bigsby Warlock, yeah. So let's see. We have Deception and Sleight of Hand from our background. I keep multiple holy symbols on me. Well, you know that's going to give us religion. Plus, if we're talking about reaching out to other planar entities and the like, or, you know, tying this into a faith of some kind in whatever world this character exists, I absolutely think that that works. We believe in charity. Somewhere out there I have a child who doesn't know me, but I'm making the world a better place, and I can't resist swindling people who are more powerful than me. So we have Sleight of Hand, we have Deception for that. So I think religion works pretty well. And, maybe history. You know, he's 137 years old. If he did grow up as a prince, was probably taught the histories and the, you know, the royal colors and symbols and such. We know the other noble houses. So here, and by the way, even though Warlock is a charisma class in the book, don't be afraid to run it, or to at least propose to your Dungeon Master to run Warlock off of intelligence. I think it could be a very good intelligence caster as well. So. Uh-oh. Yep. Looks like we lost connection again. I wonder if Twitch is pooping out or what's going on, because I'm still on the interwebs. Well, I'll continue on with this while I'm waiting to reconnect with you all. And honestly, everything next is in the PHB anyway, since I'm just putting down Warlock stuff. Putting down vanilla Warlock stuff. So we'll get Pact Magic. We don't get the ability to cast Rituals. Our invocations, I'll wait till we reconnect to talk about. We are going to get the Pact Boon, that is Pact of the Blade. So we can use our action to create a Pact weapon in our empty hand, and we can choose the form that this melee weapon takes when we create it. So there's a lot more here, but you all can read it in the player's handbook. We're not here for a deep dive into that. We can create weapons as we need to. Now we are going to get Mystic Arcanum, and that is going to simulate our higher level spell slots, because we don't get spell slots above 5th level. So here for Mystic Arcanum, you know, we're gonna get one as we're making a level 20 character, right? The 7th higher levels you gain more. I'm sorry, choose a 6th level spell at 11th, then 13, then 15, then 17 we get our 9th. And so it's once per long rest we can use this spell. That is a higher level. And then lastly we get Eldritch Master. And by the way, if you're making a high level Warlock, remember, your Mystic Arcanum are not spells known. They are Mystic Arcanum, they're not spells. So when we come up here to our 15 spells known, all of that exists in the levels 1 through 5. And also, remember, you can swap out when you level up a spell maybe you haven't been using, something along those lines. Hey, are we back? Hello, 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 test, are we back? Yellow, yellow, yellow. Yay! All right. So, I just simply I was going over the fact that we get Eldritch Master, and I was talking about Mystic Arcanum are not spells known. Spells known are you're gonna have 15 spells from levels 1 through 5, and etc. etc. And that is going to give us a Warlock, but we can talk about the invocations that we are going to have. You know, as we have almost kind of like this Prince of Persia style character. Maybe not as athletic or acrobatic. So I guess maybe more like a... And we're talking about princes and whatnot in a sort of a Persian style setting. But what are the invocations that we want to give this person based on who he is? Remember, he is a Blade Pact. There are 2 Blade Pact specific invocations. That being the one giving us a second attack. It is Thirsting Blade. So if we wanted to at level 5, and remember, your invocations you can swap out as well, but we have the benefit of just sitting down and getting to choose it, you know, sort of in a retrospect. So if we want to make him very melee focused, we can give him Thirsting Blade. And the other one is... that was Chain Tome. Life Drinker. When you hit a creature with your Pact weapon, the creature takes extra necrotic damage equal to your Charisma modifier. And you might be able to say to your DM, like, hey, I'm an Efreeti. Can we change necrotic to fire? I don't know why you'd want to, because, you know, fire is resisted a lot more than necrotic is. Still, hey, it doesn't hurt to have that communication. If we want to give the genie, the person who is his own patron, in a sense, the Life Drinker invocation. If there are other invocations that you like, then now if we have someone who does, if we have someone who wears different identities, we do have a disguise kit. We can also accent that with Mask of Many Faces. As well, there's one that gives us Alter Self, not even just Disguise Self. Yeah, I agree, Rytel. They can tell it's... Yeah. You're going for flavor, not cheese. And if you're doing that in good faith with your Dungeon Master, you'll probably get a lot more acceptance to your ideas in that case. Yeah, so I think we can go... Mask of Many Faces. I think Minions of Chaos could be cool too. We can cast Conjure Elemental once using a Warlock spell slot. Now, that's presuming we don't get Efreeti spells, Burning Hands, Scorching Ray, Fireball, Fire Shield, and Flame Strike. Got it. And then there's just plain old Genie spells. Detect, Phantasmal, Create, Phantasmal Killer, Creation, and Wish. Alright, so this might be cool where we can conjure a little fire elemental. Maybe Prince Ali wants to go into the city as Aladdin. Yeah. Now, just because the prerequisite's 9th level, nothing says that we have to take it at 9. We could take it at level 18 if we want. But I'll put it here as the minimum. Let's give him Minions of Chouse. Misty Visions. You can cast Silent Image at will without expending a spell slot or material components. The show-stopping genie shenanigans? Okay, alright. Misty Visions. Delcorin, hello, welcome. You know, I'm kind of thinking as well, especially if we have a character that is more likely to get into scraps, what if we took Armor of Shadows, and it's mage armor, it does say Armor of Shadows, but instead of shadows, what if we cosmetically make it look like some of our genie essence is like flaring out or glowing around us to help protect us? Not only is it mechanically useful to us, especially as more of a brawler-style warlock, but we can steep it in our flavor. We're going to take our warlock to Flavor Town. Do you like Armor of Shadows? Although we'd probably call it like Armor of Flames or something along those lines. You know, something like Ascendant Step would be interesting. You know, because we just sort of like hover, just whoa, 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 as we're here. Though, if we are kind of I mean, we could be kind of trickstery, right? Something like Beguiling Influence or Beast Speech. I don't know if Beast Speech would really be up his alley here. We're into charity. We're trying to make the world a better place. I think we're more of a people person than a talk with animals person. Oh, something to bring up as well. So let's say Beguiling Influence. We already have proficiency in Deception from our background. If you encounter an instance where two sources are giving you the same proficiency, ask your Dungeon Master if she or he would allow you to turn proficiency into expertise, or allow you to replace Deception, which would be the redundant skill, with something else that would be thematic. Like maybe Arcana or something. Or if the DM says, well, keep it charismatic because Persuasion and Deception are in there, then go, instead of Persuasion, I'll go Performance. I'll make a big scene out of stuff because that's what my magic lets me do. Will you let me take Persuasion and Performance? Okay, you know, maybe that'll work. Trevor says Bewitching Whispers, maybe showing the target their desires and saying that they can what they can get for them. You can cast Compulsion once using a Warlock spell slot. You can't do so again until you finish a long rest. So we can offer that bit of temptation. Sure, we can put that in there. We certainly can. Oh, how about Sculptor of Flesh? We can turn someone into an elephant or a monkey. Sculptor of Flesh might be an interesting one as well. Arcane Eye would be very interesting. Although, he's not necessarily the infiltrator type. Oh, Witch Sight. Witch Sight. You can see the true form of any shape changer or creature concealed by illusion or transmutation magic, while the creature is within 30 feet of you and within line of sight. You and or your DM can have fun with this, because if we're saying, you know, because if we're using illusion ourselves, we can look through illusion. What happens when we look in the mirror? What do we see? You know, who is this prince we see staring back at me? Does my reflection show who I am inside? Or what I have inside, even. I think Witch Sight would be a really cool one. You know, because if we're a prankster or a trickster as well, in some cases, being able to identify that could help. Oh, and also, if we're talking about things like shape changers, that can have an effect on your campaign area. Are there a lot of other, like, lesser Jinn or Efreeti or Genies? Or are there, in this environment, are there other shape changers? Whether they're werewolves or doppelgangers or things like that. You could possibly have a tremendous advantage by being able to see through those kinds of disguises and trickery because you yourself practice it. And let's see, we get one more. Oh, it was the Sculptor of Flesh. I think that would be a really cool one. I think that'd be a really cool one for this character. And you know what? If you wanted to give this character you are certainly welcome to do so. Nictorak! 14 months.
Good evening, everyone. Every month I'm here, the more I lean and grow and a player and DM. Here's to many more.
Here's to many more, my friend Nictorak. Thank you so much for finding us, for being a part of our community, and for re-upping your sub as well. When we have our miniature raffle on Wednesday, I mean, whoever gets the box that has been bought using your subscription, that goes out to them, they can give you a hearty thank you, as I'm simply the medium through which they flow. So there you go. If any of you win a box on Wednesday, you gotta thank Nictorak, okay? So there I think this is an awesome suite of invocations for our Warlock here. All right, now, let's explore the goodies that we get as a Genie Warlock. Now, like the other Warlocks, you get special spells. Remember, these replace the spells that, or they add to the spells you could take as a Warlock. These are not freebie spells. These are not like Paladin Oath spells or Druid Circle spells. These simply get tacked on to the spells that you could learn as a Warlock, but they still take a spell known slot. Yeah, the fact that you can get Wish, my goodness, and I guess it makes a lot of sense thematically too, huh? So we get our expanded spell list. I'm not going to worry about putting that under archetype because it's there. You can see what you get here. Now, what about the Genie's Wessel? Your patron gifts you a magical Wessel that grants you a measure of the Genie's power. The Wessel is a tiny object, and you can use it as a spellcasting focus for your Warlock spells. You decide what the object is, or you can determine what it is by randomly rolling on the Genie's Wessel table. Nictorak, will you please type exclamation point 1d6? Yeah, if we're the Wessel ourselves, then this could simply be like a memento. Or it's a clue that would lead eventually to this discovery. If Nictorak might not be here, Delcorin, can you please type exclamation point 1d6? You came out of lurk mode and now I'm giving you homework. Haha. Five. A hollow statuette. Now, I do like we're kind of our own Wessel. I know I'm saying Wessel. As Darkwolf was saying, this could end up being some fun little trinket or something that could be a clue or help play into that identity. Much like we were talking about the mask, turning Stanley Ipkiss into the mask. So let's come down here and we have our Genie's Vessel is a hollow statuette. Of what or whom? I wonder. While you're touching the vessel, you can use it in the following ways. Bottled Respite. As an action, you can magically vanish and enter your vessel, which remains in the space you left. The interior of the... I'll just say vessel. I don't want to annoy people. The interior of the vessel is an extra-dimensional space in the shape of a 20-foot radius cylinder, 20 feet high, and resembles your vessel. The interior is comfortably appointed with cushions and low tables, and is a comfortable temperature. While inside, you can hear the area around your vessel as if you are in its space. You can remain inside the vessel up to a number of hours equal to twice your proficiency bonus. You exit the vessel early if you use a bonus action to leave, if you die, or if the vessel is destroyed. When you exit the vessel, you appear in an occupied space closest to it. Any objects left in the vessel remain there until carried out, and if the vessel is destroyed, every object stored there harmlessly appears in the unoccupied spaces closest to the vessel's former space. Once you enter the vessel, you can't enter again until you finish a long rest. Pretty cool. You get kind of a bag of holding or a portable hole as a part of your class that you can hide inside of. And so if we're a statuette, we can kind of like place our statuette down someplace, you know, if we want to investigate or just see what's happening on the street. And we can just go inside. And heck, if we wanted to be antisocial, someone could just carry our hollow statuette around, and we could just be inside, just resting in our little Pokeball. No, Nictorak, you're fine. No problem. No problem. You want to make it a little owlbear statue? You certainly can. Now, we also get Genies Wrath. Once during each of your turns when you hit with an attack roll, you can deal extra damage to the target equal to your proficiency bonus. The type of this damage is determined by your patron. And so in this case, fire, as we have an Efreeti patron. The vessel's AC equals your spell save DC. Its hit points equal your Warlock level plus your proficiency bonus, and it's immune to poison and psychic damage. If the vessel's destroyed or you lose it, you can perform a 1-hour ceremony to receive a replacement from your patron. The ceremony can be performed during a short or long rest, and the previous vessel is destroyed if it still exists. The vessel vanishes in a flare of elemental power when you die. So that's pretty good. I guess we're already stacking on our Genie's Wrath. So I guess if we wanted to be super damage output as a Blade Lock, we could stack on Life Drinker and get Genie's Wrath as well. And we would be quite Wroth. W-R-O-T-H. So the possibility for some pretty big damage if you stack Life Drinker with Genie's Wrath. But that might help make up for Blade Locks, you know, because if you get the 2 swings and, you know, if it was Necrotic and Fire, if you wanted to double up and go Fire. It's kind of interesting because this does kind of lend itself to us being a genie or genie-like. So our ideas seem to have been ahead of the curve in this instance. And for having other party members be able to carry you around inside your Pokeball, at least for 12 hours a day, it's pretty interesting. You can set up some cool, you know, kind of an Overwatch for scouting. You can just kind of put yourself down. I don't know, maybe on a whim, you just put your statue down and see if anyone takes you. And where do they take you? You want to get some dirt on I don't know, give yourself as a gift, almost like a Trojan horse. Give yourself as a gift to a rival noble, and then, you know, there's the statuette. And you can watch the comings and goings of the handmaidens or the butlers or whatever. Or I don't know, if you want some extra, you want some spicy dirt, you know, maybe your statue is more of like a fertility statue, a shrine, and the person in question brings it into the private sanctum, and you might be privy to spy on some naughty things that might not just be the moo-foo-foo style, but even under the guise of a meeting. Maybe everyone's like, well, yeah, we understand the noble kind of, has a lot of sand children, to refer back to what we were talking about. But actually, that's where some shady business goes down. Can already imagine just throwing the statue across. Oh, yeah. So, yeah, you can throw the statue, load the statue or use the catapult spell and hurl the statue using the catapult spell. It breaks, and then suddenly our Genie Warlock spills out and then just goes ham on the person with a fiery sword. So there's a lot of roleplay potential. I don't know if giving someone extra-dimensional space like this is necessarily bad or overpowered. I can think of a lot of creative uses for it. It takes a bonus action, not terrible. The Respite's cool. The Genie's Wrath, I don't necessarily think that's overpowered. Because even if you're going for a castery, it's an attack, so you would just be powering up all of your Eldritch Pew-Pews. So you not only get the force damage, but maybe you also go bludgeoning or thunder or whatever else. Alright, now we also get an elemental gift. You begin to take on characteristics of your patron's kind. You now have resistance to a damage type determined by your patron's kind, and in ours, we get fire resistance. Now, if you're playing, a tiefling or a red or gold dragonborn that gets this, and it would be redundant, talk to your DM. What happens if you stack it? Do you get like super reduction, so it's actually a quarter? Or would your DM say, yeah, you know what? You are already resistant. Let's just make you immune. Okay. Being immune to bludgeoning damage, thunder, fire, or cold isn't necessarily itself... there's a lot of fire. In a sense, that could be the most... For the same reason why output of fire damage isn't necessarily as bad, because it is resisted and immune from so many sources and creatures. But I don't know. Talk to your DM about it. But in this case, as a half-elf, we get fire resistance. In addition, as a bonus action, you can give yourself a flying speed of 30 feet that lasts for 10 minutes, during which you can hover. You can use this bonus action a number of times equal to your proficiency bonus, and you regain all expended uses when you finish a long rest. So we can fly for an hour. Right? 6 uses of 10 minutes. So if we need to, we have a fly speed of 30 feet for an hour. Not terrible. Presumably that this would need to be indicated that this is magical. I presume it's magical, so it could be dispelled or anti-magic or something could interact. However, if it doesn't say it, maybe it's saying that, well, this is just it is a supernatural property, but it's not a magical property. So something to consider as well. What is the nature of the flight? And, does this change you? As a draconic sorcerer, just because you can sprout dragon wings from your back, does that mean they're magic dragon wings that would be taken away by magic? Have that discussion, especially because this is a 6th level genie feature. Have that discussion with your dungeon master. 25%? Yeah, and yeah, I think that would be that could be viable as well, Nick Direct. Maybe you're resistant, but then I don't know, you never get sunburned again or something. You're resistant to exhaustion, or you're immune to exhaustion based on heat or sweat or some other things like that. All right, Sanctuary Vessel. When you enter your Genie's Vessel via the Bottled Respite feature, you can now choose up to 5 willing creatures that you can see within 30 feet of you, and the chosen creatures are drawn into the vessel with you. As a bonus action, you can eject any number of creatures from the vessel, and everyone is ejected if you leave or the vessel's destroyed. In addition, anyone, including you, who remains within the vessel for at least 10 minutes, gains the benefit of finishing a short rest. and anyone can add your proficiency bonus to the number of hit points they regain if they spend any hit dice as a part of a short rest there. So it's kind of like the Bard feature. It's at level 10 as a Warlock. I don't think that's really stepping on toes, especially because you're in the Sanctuary. I don't know. It's cool and thematic. Itty bitty living space. I don't know, 20 by 20 by 20. Not a sphere, but a cylinder isn't terrible. Now, here's an interesting combo as well. So we go inside, we go into our little clay, whatever, Shantae Half-Genie hero statuette. My goodness. Mr. Plunderloot. This allows us to live inside our waifu statuette collections. So for this genie, we go into a little statuette. Presumably an animal could carry us as well. Whether it's another party member, or in this case, if we had a druid or someone who could command animals or summon animals, we might even be able to just get a flight. Dark Wolf, with Casimir, I know that you've been summoning a lot of burbs. This does not necessarily indicate you can't manipulate, because you can see and hear outside. You might be able to summon like a big eagle or an owl or something, or some kind of a hawk, and have it pick up your vessel, and you all just fly around inside this thing. Yeah, you could just taxi yourselves across. Now, I don't think is necessarily broken in any particular fashion, but it's a very interesting thing to ponder. Because you can see outside. You presumably can interact. It didn't say that spell effects, like in a Liamin's tiny hut. That said, this might need that kind of language. Because otherwise, for 12 hours a day, or I guess for as long as you can keep the creatures summoned, yeah, you could stow away on a boat and just sort of relax. I mean, a feature like this, Bottled Respite, I can think of a society, if they found a way to do this, think about a society where, a bus is simply a wagon that has a bunch of statuettes in the back. And people just kind of go into the bottle as the thing makes the rounds. Can you imagine a world where this is discovered? Now, of course, you are a unique character. You are the special someone in the world of D&D that has this. But, I don't know, my mind drifts to this sort of a thing. Like, if we reduced ourselves down in this instance, think of the possibilities. Think what that could do for a society. And therefore, if a society doesn't expect it, and you have this as that special someone in society that does, you could put this to some very interesting uses. And then lastly, actually here I gotta write down, we have Elemental Gift, we have Sanctuary Vessel, and then lastly but not leastly at level 14, we have Limited Wish. You entreat your patron to grant you a small wish. As an action, you can speak your desire to your genie's vessel, requesting the effect of one spell that is 6th level or lower and has a casting time of 1 action. The spell can be from any class's spell list, and you don't need to meet the requirements in that spell, including costly components. The spell simply takes effect as part of this action. Once you use this feature, you can't use it again until you finish 1d4 long rests. I mean, hey, Shukan. Shukan is flomping. Are you flomping or flumping? I don't know. This is a more guaranteed version of the clerics. What's the level 10? You entreat your god. Divine intervention, I believe. I don't know. If you need to, you can cast a big heal spell and you can't use it again for another 1d4 long rests, which is kind of like 1d4 days. It's certainly a get out of here button. Oh, Shukan. Alright, Shukan, we'll pull him for you. We'll pull him for you here real shortly.
Giving me some boards.
Yeah, I mean, as a one-time for a 6th level or lower, I think it's fine. Nothing about that necessarily seems completely overpowered. That once every 1 to 4 days, you can cast, like, mass heal or something. I don't know. There might be something that could somehow break this, but I'm having trouble with anything coming to the front of my noggin. This seems like a lot more of maybe a utility Warlock. I mean, I guess we could spec it as, like, if we want to spec super damage output, like super DPR, we could. Though, you know, things like Limited Wish, you're not, like, unlimited power in that regard. We have the itty-bitty living space, you know, but we can't necessarily cast out of it and all that. Revival, there's a 5th level, I think, is Raise Dead. And that's if your DM allows that spell also. So, presumably you could do that. Now, things like Teleport, that could possibly, but I guess no more than Divine Intervention, I suppose. You'd have to talk with your DM about it, but would your genie be able to flawlessly teleport you from one place to the next? Maybe. Hero's Feast might fall in here. And that'll save you some costly components if you can have a Hero's Feast once every average 2 days. So yeah, there's some wiggle room with this. DC Rude, hello, or hello to you. So we have our character, we've explored it. There's nothing, I don't know, I think this is pretty solid. It's very thematic. It seems like it'd be a lot of fun, and the subclass itself has 4 subclasses. So I don't know. I like it. I like it a lot. I will say as well that the Mad Lads over at D&D Time also took a stab at a refined Genie Warlock, and it is well worth checking out. In fact, Fantasy Labs is the name of their homebrew show, and their Fantasy Labs creations have been finding their way over to the DM's Guild. And if you'd like to give Pete and Jeremy some support, I think it's $1 if you want a non-watermarked PDF. Otherwise, you can download it for free, but as a watermark. But I would recommend going to the DM's Guild and throw them a buck and look at their offering of a Genie Warlock and have fun with it, because it is it's a very cool and also a very thematic build. So give that a look, please. Also, DC Root, thank you very much for the follow. Welcome aboard. DC, have you been playing D&D for a long time? Are you a newcomer? What brought you to us here? So I say we have a character, and we absolutely do. And I can also say that because we have no ability scores. Oh, you've been playing for 10 years. Ah, all right. So we have an experienced person. As a player, DM, dabbled in a bit of both. Well, James, it does say it bypasses... it does bypass material components. You started in 3.5, and now you play 5. I got started in the early days of 3.5. I played through 4th. I didn't mind 4th. I liked 4th in its own ways. But I adore 5th. So maybe I just I float with the additions. All right, now we're not going to worry about the wizard until tomorrow. So let's assign our ability scores using the standard array. 15, 14, 13, 12, 10, 8. Based on what we know about this person. You know, we are a charismatic person, not just for the mechanical benefits of a warlock, but we are this princely character. We are a bit of a trickster. We are a social person. Thantos says, I started in 2nd edition, and I love it the most, especially the depth of books and options. I don't play Seduction. I play for the RP. Oh, gotcha. For Bard. I got it. Oh, yeah, Bards... I mean, it's a meme at this point that Bards are always wanting to, you know, be busy. Very busy folk. But no, that's... anyone who plays a Bard, I don't presume that they're there just to hump anything that'll give them a wink. Your character is your character. The other Josh says, sorry I've been lurking. I'm in the midst of moving off campus, but listening to your stream has been awesome and has been soups chill. I'm glad, Josh. This has been inspirational. It's been giving you something in the background. Look, I have a face made for radio, and I just have a couple PDFs on the screen. You're not missing much if you just listen to us in the background because you're working or driving or doing something else. You can just listen to what we're doing and follow along with the story and let it tickle your neurons. So I lie about almost everything. I keep multiple holy symbols. I believe in charity. We're trying to make the world a better place for this child that we have, and I can't resist swindling people who are more powerful than me. So we have this kind of an alter ego superhero that is the genie. Like, he is his own patron in a sense, but for some reason he has bound himself into this body. Or maybe that's where the half had come from. If it's half elf, the other half might just be genie. I don't know. Let's have some fun and flavor with it. So yeah, I think we can put the... We are kind of a strong person. We can wield these pact weapons. You know, if he has the strength of 10 regular men, yes indeed. What if we go strength charisma? I think that he is intelligent. Do y'all want to go for a low con? Could something give him a low constitution as his dump stat? The fact that he shares this body? The fact that, if we have a low con, that probably means that we're leaning into our bottled respite feature because maybe we do want to hide, or maybe we can't, we can perform, like we can explode in combat, but we have to go rest afterwards. And by the way, there's nothing wrong with a character with an 8 con. Bard pretending to be... Bards can pretend to be a paladin very well. Did you go Valor Bard, DC? Valor Bards are kind of a paladin themselves. You know what? Let's do it. We done did it, y'all. You went lore, controlling... Oh, okay. Yep, that can still work. Eldritch Knight and Valor Bard are paladins, just in a different way. Just as a paladin is a Valor Bard in a different way itself. But, how you're doing it, if you go melee with a sword, or, you go sword and board or something, but you're also casting healing spells, or however you're flavoring it, that's the beauty of 5th edition. You can do what you want. Alright, so I was bold, and I put it in an 8 constitution. Now, if you have a different array, then, hey, it's your character. Have fun. This is our character, not mine. So if you like, nah, 16 decks for sure. then, you know, have fun. Go ham with it. Oh, gotcha. I love that you're weaving the flavor through the magic items too, DC. So we adjust our charisma as well, and this is what we have. And so now we rolled that we didn't take any feats from our random character generator here. All right, which means it's all natural. We're gonna take 10 points, and we can put it into our Char Actor. So why don't we move? I think we're charismatic enough. You know, depending on the spells, well, they are very attacky spells. Not that we have to take them, but if we did want to lean into the fact that we are this genie, and that we are, that might be important for us to bump that up. So if we put 4 into charisma, we could put, if we're dealing with packed weapons, strength would be really good for really any packed weapon we can manifest. But do we need to go 20? I don't know if we need to go 20. Let's put 2 more points in strength. And then maybe we can bump up something else here. Maybe our dex. We can bring our dex up. As that'll help with our sleight of hand, and that could also help with our armor class in a sense, but also give us a little bit of latent acrobatics or stealth. I don't know. Do you all like this spread? I definitely want to keep his health. I think that would be a fun roleplay part, and it would also really lean into what we get from the genie, and we might even call in our genie our genie limited wish to help us. Maybe we use our limited wish to, you know, temporarily, you know, give us some extra hit points or something to try and, you know, survive, to eke things out. And that could simply be that we have to draw more on our genie powers because we are a genie, even though we don't know it or we suspect it or something along those lines. The role play will support the mechanics, and no one can say, well, you're min-maxing or whatever, because we're not. We have a beautiful broken character. And not broken in that way. Not in a Munchkin way. I get what you're saying, Trevor. But I think that I think we can have a ton of fun by keeping his hit points lower. You know, because where we see him is at level 20 right now. And so perhaps that is... You know, perhaps that has been the limiter, right? We have infinite cosmic power, but as a way, as like a check or a meter or a limiter on our body to make sure that we don't just go around and level everything. We have a limited health. We have to be wise with what happens. Oh, the sword is for show. Oh, DC, thank you so much. Thank you, thank you. By the way, we could probably get away with an 18 charisma if you wanted to put, I don't know, something else. If you wanted to increase dex or whatever. I think our character would still be completely viable. It's a 5% difference in saving and hitting. Not too terrible. But if we keep it 20, I mean, you'll be able to download this character later off our Discord anyway. Have fun and play around with him. Alright, saving throw and athletics are 4. Dex is 3 down the line, except sleight of hand, which is 9. Constitution's -1. Intelligence are 2s, except history, which is 8, and religion, which is 8. Wisdom saving throw is 6, but 0s down the line for everything else. Charisma, performance, or I'm sorry, intimidation, performance, persuasions are 5s, and then 11 for saving throw and 11 for deception. Our passive perception is 10. It's 10 plus your perception modifier. It is your latent awareness of what goes on around you, and it saves you a ton of dice rolls. I love, and really any skill can be passive. As a dungeon master, don't be afraid to have a passive history, a passive stealth, that kind of a thing. If you want to account for it in your game, go ahead. Armor class, I don't know. We have an invocation that can help. We might be wearing magic armor in some other capacity. We're level 20. I'm not going to presume that. Just like with the weapon, with a pact weapon, I don't know, if we're attacking off of strength, we are swinging with a +10. If we're attacking off of dex, we're swinging with a +9. And whatever weapon is there, you know, I'm not going to worry about that. If we are attacking with our spells, that's going to be a +11 to hit. And to save, you add 8 to that because it's just a floating modifier. So our enemies would need a 19 to resist the effects of our spells. And, you know, being a trickster and whatnot with the misty visions and all that, I think, and the bewitching whispers, I think it helps to have a high DC in that regard. I'm not going to worry about which cantrips we have. We'll get to that. Let's continue filling out our character here. Initiative's +3 because it's a dex check. And now we get to hit points. As a Warlock, level 1, we get all 8 of our hit points because that's our hit die size. For our remaining 19 levels of our 20, because we already have our first level hit points, we get half +1 unless you decide to do something different with your DM. But for all 20 levels, you get bonus hit points equal to your Constitution modifier. Our bonus hit points are going to be -20. So here's our math. We have, so 95 minus 20, this is going to be 75 plus 8. We have 83 hit points. All right, Grainwald, have fun shopping, and thanks for stopping by and lurking. Toll the Dead is a very good spell. Also, DC, I do hope to look to have you join us on Discord, too. Well, you know, you say ouch, but it's very thematic, and we have ways that we can account for that with our features and with even the spells that we select. You know, we will play this character differently because of this number, and that's perfectly fine. This is it could be seen as a weakness. It's not a bad part of the character, though. This is a big roleplay opportunity for us. Cool, so we are no longer a set of stats. He has earned a name. And one of the last bits that we really have to come down and fill out, once my computer's like, no, it's a PDF. We are casting as per a Warlock. We cast off of Charisma, 19 to save, plus 11 to hit. We have 4 cantrips, and I'm going to leave these blank because if you want to give him different spells, hey, go at it. 0, 0, 0, 0, and 4. Which, for any of you wondering, you're like, well, wait, how are there 4? In fact, how are there 3? Well, I mean, not 3. I mean, how's there 4 at 5th level? Is that a typo? Or no, Warlocks get those. So we have our Mystic Arcanum here already filled in. And now if we go back to the Warlock, you'll see that we get a certain number of spells per level. So at level 1, we get 2 spells. At level 2, we get a 3rd spell that is here under Spells Known. And it can only be a level 1 spell because we can only cast level 1. There's nothing saying you can't, you know, at 10th level, you can go and take a 1st level spell if you want. Absolutely. This is just saying it's a spell that you know. But, if we write everything out when we can take it, it's going to go 3, 4. And by the way, remember, you can replace a spell and an invocation when you level up. So here we have 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And you see, or I'm sorry, not 10. At level 11 is when we get our Oh wait, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Yeah. So we get our 11th spell at level 11. I got ahead of myself. And then on even numbers, so we'll get another one at 13, 15, 17, 19. And these can go anywhere. I don't know where you'd want to put them. So if we have 11, I don't know, maybe we want to come back and have 3 in each one. So this would be, or I guess we can even go back even further and go, here's 13, 15, 17, 19. As your character goes through whatever adventure you put him on, in this case a him, you will be the one to guide this. I simply want to make sure that you know how to read this column and what that means. Because remember, spells known are not your Mystic Arcanums. Or Arcanums, depending on how you want to pronounce it. Hi, Refry! Hi! Waves back to Refry. Ah, you've done, yeah. You know, because it's, while you have a fixed spell list, you have some mutability and adaptability as, you know, your circumstances change. So, ta-da! We have a character. And if you have a name that you want to call him, and remember, our character might very well have 2 different official names. We have the name of our character, you know, Darkwolf saying Prince Ali, but remember, we have our false identity. And what is the name of that character? Who is the same person, but an alter ego, in a sense. Hey, PV, good to see you. So we have our prince identity here, if we want to say Ali, or however you'd like. And then we have our alter ego of, if you want to say Aladdin, you can say Aladdin, because the genie is within us, kind of a thing. And James, yeah, if you want to add that as a special role-playing condition, yeah, talk to your DM about that and have fun. Have a lot of fun with something like that. Ta-da! We made a character, y'all! Yay!